All right, so my internet feed, my YouTube feed has been like plastered with videos of uh, the Indian social media and the Indian mainstream media reporting the downing of the F-16, that the MiG-21 Bison of the Indian Air Force that was flown by Abhinandan, Wing Commander Abhinandan, who I'm not personally impressed by as an Air Force, as him being an Air Force officer. Like, me personally being a big fan of the Air Force, and like a lot of good friends being in the Air Force, in the Pakistan Air Force. So like, his personality, I would not say would be one of a fighter pilot. Uh, like, they don't back down, and like he was all down all the way. Anyway, like, the thing that I want to discuss generally is um whether, again, like, I'm a war buff. I've read about the world wars. I've read about like all the global wars, pretty much, including the 1965, the 1971, and the Kargil wars. uh, and the issue with like those historical wars is that, as per the Pakistani narrative, Pakistan is the winner of those wars, and as per the Indian narrative, India won those wars. And it's always an issue of who is writing the history, in terms of who won the war and who lost the war. But I was pretty, like, with this particular one day skirmish that the Pakistan Air Force had with the Indian Air Force. And since, like, we are both, Pakistan and India are both nuclear capable powers, and there is, like, there is not much of a chance of having a an all out conventional war ever again. So, like, the issue had to be decided on superior warfare, in terms of, like, using the most cutting edge weapons that both of us had. uh, so, like, uh, Isbar, like, this time around, what I personally, like, as per my understanding, that, like, let's just count, like, count the assets, and count the losses. And so, being an engineer, I'm pretty analytical, and I like to count the wins. And a chess player as well, you see the pieces, and you can count the pieces, how many pieces were lost by whom. And you can actually see, like, who was in the driving seat when the game was abandoned. So, let's just straight up count what the Indian Air Force achieved. So they did a bombing run in, like, somewhere near Balakot, where we claimed like, nothing really, like, they were not able to hit any targets, and they claimed that they were able to hit targets. Again, nothing shown by the Indian media. One. um, Two, IAF claimed that they downed an F-16. Again, uh, neither the wreckage nor the pilot, like, has been shown by you, like, by the Indian media or the Indian Air Force. Uh, Pakistan Air Force, on the other hand, was able to, one number one, Pakistan Air Force went inside the Indian territories, and they, what they say is that they locked up military targets, but they dropped bombs near those targets and not on them, because they just wanted to show their military capability, and not um, um, like, not actually cause harm. And then on the way back, like, we were able to bring one, like, the Pakistan again, me being a Pakistani, have to have, like, this is why I say we. I should not be saying that, the idea of this video is to be impartial. uh, but so, yeah, on our way back, like, on the way back, the Pakistan Air Force was chased by the Indian fighters that were scrambled, the Sukhoi 30 MKI, and the MiG-21 Bison, which was being flown by Wing Commander Abhinandan. And it's funny, which was brought down within the Pakistan airspace, on our side of Kashmir. And he landed, his parachute landed in on the Pakistani side of Kashmir as well. And we had him in, like, Pakistan had him in custody. So, like, it was pretty simple at that point, that who has the the man, like like Pakistan Air Force had the wreckage of the plane. Pakistan Air Force had the pilot. um, Yes. So things were pretty straightforward until then. But again, s- there is a conspiracy. The conspiracy is that the first day when that skirmish, the air confrontation happened, Major General Asim Ghafoor, the ISPR, the ISPR spokesperson, he mentioned that two pilots came down. So one was Abhinandan, that was captured by the Pakistan Army. The other was injured, and he was sent to the CMS, whatever, combined military hospital somewhere. So, now, what the Indians claim is that that pilot was the Pakistani pilot who was flying the F-16 that fell inside the Pakistani airspace, and his parachute also deployed within the Pakistan airspace, landed in Pakistan airspace, on the ground, and was injured and was taken to the nearest hospital. But since that time, there has been no mention of the second pilot by the Pakistani authorities. So this is the reason why I do ask this question, whether um, the guy, the Pakistani guy that was, the second pilot, who was the second pilot. Uh, there are some conspiracy theorists that say that it was an Israeli pilot that fell down, and he was the conspiracy theorist being one of my sisters. She has a degree in defense and strategic studies as well, and but she's a housewife. So anyway, I'm not really taking her, but it said that it was the Israeli pilot who was flying the Sukhoi MKI 30, uh, Su-30 MKI, sorry. And he was the one we had, so that is why we are able to broker a deal, and that is why an American diplomat rushed to Pakistan as well. So I'm not really sure. Again, I just love the fact that this time the skirmish was so transparent, and it was like nobody can put a spin on it. But again, there is, like always, there has been put a lot of spin on the story. So again, the waters are muddied by the superior Indian media, I would say. So this probably is sort of like, I'm not happy that my YouTube feed is being cluttered by this sort of narrative. So uh, yeah, one thing is that, from the American perspective, like F-16 being a Lockheed Martin machine, and one of the pride of Lockheed Martin as well. uh, what they have said, the American spokespeople have said that all the F-16s that we sold to Pakistan are accounted for, so like none of them fell down. And on the other hand, people are saying, the conspiracy theorists, they say that since it's an F-16 and it was downed by a MiG-21 Bison, which is like literally said to be the flying coffin, since it has brought down like too many pilots in the Indian Air Force, because it's an old machine, because it had been refurbished and all. So they say that because it's the American machine versus the Russian technology, so they're not never gonna agree to the fact that uh, a relic from the past, which is a MiG-21, was able to down an F-16, which was definitely upgraded, and it's in service. So yeah, my only question uh, to this theory is that uh, the the mention of the second pilot by the DG ISPR, the spokesperson of ISPR, Major General, I think it's yeah, whoever, whatever his name is. Uh, where is he? Please, give us an answer to that. So that it's either a pilot, that it was our own pilot. If it was, it's fine. But if it was someone else, like you mentioned the pilot. Since you mentioned the pilot, you have to tell his full story now. All right, so this was my little analysis and my take and my question uh, on the Pakistan using an F-16, and having downed an F-16. So yeah, out.